Rich people problems. The movie. Or the series. Whatever. It's fine. So, hi. We're talking about Downton Abbey.
We're 3 weeks fashionably late for this review.
Not 3 weeks, only a couple weeks.
It came out September 20th.
Well, okay, maybe September 20th. Okay, fine, whatever. The point is, I saw the damn thing.
I had a feeling you'd hate it. So
I didn't hate it. I actually didn't hate this movie.
Really?
No, I was being genuine. It's fine. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I didn't hate this movie. It's not really my thing. Mostly because I just don't really go for rich people period pieces. It's just not my thing. I think the only one I liked recently was The Favorite, and that's because it spent a majority of the runtime making horrible fun of it. Which, if you ever seen have you seen The Favorite?
Yeah, I really liked it.
It's a great movie, but it's totally trolling on this genre.
Yes.
Which kind of why I thought it was great. Okay.
The Favorite kind of put a twist on it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I watched it twice now. The second time you really notice how much he's just eviscerating the genre, just for all it's worth. And it's like, damn, it feels like a troll Oscar-worthy pick because it's making horrible fun movies that typically get nominated for that kind of movie, that get the nomination. As far as Downton Abbey goes, I guess we should talk about what we think of the show, our history with the show.
I'm a big fan of the show. I have the whole thing on DVD. I tried to convince him to watch at least a few episodes of it in preparation for this, because I've been looking forward to this film all year.
I got through one. That was it for me. I was like, all right.
So you got through the pilot.
I got through the pilot.
It doesn't really get cracking until a few episodes after the pilot.
The most I got out of it was like, oh, look, it's Daredevil. That's the most I got out of it. He plays the Duke or whoever who comes to visit, and turns out he's gay.
Oh, Matthew Cox.
Yeah. So that was like, oh, hey, it's Daredevil. I didn't know he was in this. All right, cool. I didn't hate it even then. I was like, okay, whatever. It's just not really my thing. I can see the appeal. I can see what people like. It just doesn't really appeal to me personally. And again, that's just because I don't typically go for stuff in this genre. It just never really interested me all that much. That being said, I actually liked this movie a fair bit. Okay. For most of it. I think the only part that really started to lose me was at the very end when we got to the ball.
It did feel like they were wrapping up rather quickly towards the end.
Actually, I had the opposite problem. I thought it could wrap up a lot sooner. Because at that point, I think we felt like had 6 different endings. I was like, oh my god, pick one and be done. So
that's how I felt about the third Lord of the Rings movie.
At least that one felt earned. And I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but at least that kid's like, okay, well, after everything they built up to all this time, I feel like they earned a little bit of self-indulgence to wrap this shit up. This is the case where we had a good ending. We had a perfect place to end it, and then they just kept going. And then I was like, okay, here's a good place to stop, but then it just kept going after that.
So
and after that. After that.
Where did you want it to stop?
I thought it was fine when it had the butler and what's her name talking outside before the ball even happened, and they said well, the ball's still gonna happen. I was like, yeah, we don't have to worry about that, and they go back inside. I thought that would have been a great way to end it.
That's kind of where one of the episodes would have ended. But
then they kept going after that, and then they introduced a new plot line and then wrap it up within a span of 10 minutes. I was like, you couldn't do this earlier? And that was for me, that's when I started to lose patience. That was really the movie really kind of started to lose me. Up to that point, I was actually surprisingly on board.
They were basically trying to fit in a season's worth of plot points into a 2-hour film.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I kind of just took it for what it was worth. Okay, it feels kind of like a series of loosely interconnected vignettes with Tom the Irishman saving the day on multiple accounts.
That was kind of his character arc throughout the show. Spoilers for the television series if you haven't seen it and you ever want to.
At this point, like, I spend most of the time like, okay, that person's that person. Okay, I think it's been like the first like 30 minutes, like, okay, these two are together, I guess. And this person, who's that person? Oh, they're doing this. But that being said, despite the fact I have like no history of the show, and I've only watched like, again, one episode, so I have like the vaguest notion of these characters. I managed to follow along pretty well, all things considered. Like, I was able to figure it out. I was able to figure out, like, who's with who and what the relationship is and, like, what's the history there. Okay, that person's retired, but now they're coming back. All right, that person's pissy about it. Fine.
You gathered that Tom, the Irishman, is the...
Oh yeah, he's wedded into the family because he's sell cars or whatever.
Yeah.
And then his wife died, and now he's still part of the family. Yep. So yeah, I was able to put all that together.
Okay.
The movie does a pretty good job. Say what you will of whether you like the show or not. The movie does a pretty good job catching you up to speed.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this show, at least as someone who has no knowledge of the show, I was able to follow along with it and catch up with what's going on.
And for people who are fans of the show, there are a lot of callbacks and references to different seasons and plot points. And again, as a fan, I really enjoyed seeing Maggie Smith's Dowager Countess and Mrs. Crawley. I think the actress's first name is Penelope. I don't remember her last name. Seeing them basically take friendly barbs at each other is one of the best parts of the series. So I was happy to see that again because they have great on-screen camaraderie.
I think the part that was making me chuckle to myself was when what's her name, the grandmama, whatever the hell they call her, Granny. Yeah.
Maggie Smith's character.
Okay, that is Maggie Smith. Yeah, I was more thinking it's like is that what you're talking about, like the cousin or whatever?
The one that she was...
The one with the maid or whatever, that, spoiler, turns out to be the daughter.
Oh, that's Cousin Maud. That is a character that was solely introduced in the movie.
I figured. But I was more like, the part of chuckling to me myself is when they have this character and they show Professor McGonagall later on, and it's like, oh, we have bad history. It's like, oh, she's still mad about Harry Potter.
I didn't even put that together.
This is for kicking Professor Trelawney out of the tower. I know it. Never got over it.
Cousin Maud was a new introduction. I think they did that so there would be something for Maggie Smith and Mrs. Crawley to debate about.
Yeah, you kind of figured that was the reason why it was there. That was, to me, that was kind of more like, all right, this sounds like rich people problems to me. So that was when I was like, all right, whatever. Some of the sarcasm's entertaining, but I wasn't really on that. I got more into the service people storyline.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was good.
Yeah. Over the course of the series, they have some really meaty plot points.
So like, all right, I kind of got on board with their storyline. I like the whole thing where like they want to. At first, I was kind of like, guys, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, whatever, it's important to them. Let them have their fun.
I loved how they sabotaged the royal staff so they could serve the king and queen.
So very, very quickly, the plot of this movie, because it's not that complicated.
No. It actually opens up rather similarly to the pilot of the series with a big important piece of news being delivered to the big house.
Yeah, so basically the whole thing is the king and queen are coming to there's a place called Downton Abbey that's this big, like, centerfold for this community, I guess, sure. And the big news is the king and queen are coming to visit, like, for one night there, and everyone's like, oh, shit, the king and queen are coming.
For dinner and then...
Like a parade and shit.
For dinner at the Abbey, and then a parade in Yorkshire, and then a ball nearby.
That's way more articulate than me. That was like, white boy explains a British sitcom, British drama. But anyway, so yeah, and then everyone's like, oh fuck, we gotta get ready. So they do all this thing, and then the king's people come in like, you guys ain't doing shit, we're gonna do all this shit. And the house people go, I don't like that shit, I'm gonna take your shit and I'm gonna do it for myself.
Yes.
So then they go do that. And it's surprisingly gratifying. So
yes.
Like, all right. At first I'm like, guys, just let them do their thing. You can only do this for one night. Just suck it up. And then it's like, all right, whatever. They want to do it because patriotism and whatever. So yes. Sure, whatever.
They want to serve their king and country.
Sure, whatever. As long as they don't get executed. Okay. having a dark twist. So they go do that. It's like, all right, it's fun. You know, all the characters there are fun. They're witty. They're likable. So you can like, all right, whatever. I can get behind that. Yeah, there's a lot of different subplots that kind of occur through the movie. Like I said, it feels like there's a bunch of like episodes condensed and crammed into this.
Yes.
Which it works okay. Like I'm assuming you follow better along if you're like a fan of the show.
Yes.
But even as a not fan of the show, I was like, all right, whatever. It's like a series of short stories. I can live with it. And for a movie that's has a pretty basic plot, I think you kind of do need that to pad this out for 2 hours. Although, even then, you probably could cut this down to a tighter hour and a half.
Probably. I had a great time watching this, and when I saw it on opening day, I had a fun audience. I was one of 3 people in my audience under the age of 40.
I think the worst part for me with this was I saw this on opening night for Joker, which I gotta go see tonight. And so there's like a lot of security around there in my theater. Like there was a fucking security tower at one point, and there's security guards like everywhere in case somebody tries to do something horrendously stupid. And I'm sitting there like, oh, there's a lot of security for Downton Abbey today.
Oh yes, the aristocracy will inspire the common folk to rebel.
Do you hear the people sing? Okay, don't need to do the whole thing. I know it's tempting. I've saw myself too. But yeah, so and then they go in there. It's just me, like a bunch, kind of like you said, a bunch of just a catty, chatty 40-year-old women all sitting in this theater with me, and me just by myself in the top, just kind of like, I am not amused. I know. Like I said, I know I really didn't hate this movie. I really thought it was fine. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because again, I'm just not as familiar with the show. So as a longtime fan of the show, does this pay off for you? Is this like the end of the show? Is it like a series finale, or what's going on with that?
The series finale was in 2015.
Oh, okay, so it's like a revival thing.
Yeah, it's a continuation. So the plot line or timeline of the movie is supposed to pick up about 9 months after where the series finale, the Christmas special for season 6, ends. So
does Santa come to Downton?
No.
They must polish their finest silver.
Silver.
Whatever. I know I mumbled. Don't make me self-conscious. Sorry, I'm in a weird mood. I'm really tired. It's been a long week, and I've been burning the candle at both ends the past few days. So. Yeah,
I've been consistently active myself, even though this is my day off. So,
well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for giving me something to do. And like you said, I think Laura would have given you a hard time if a Downton Abbey fan hadn't talked about this with you.
Oh yeah, like if I went to like with Muha or Howard to go see this, like.
I digress. So the season 6 finale pretty much ends with the ringing in of the new year of 1926. So this movie picks up around 1927 or so.
Okay.
27, 28. I think 27. In the last episode of the series, Mary reveals to her husband, who sells cars with Tom.
Yes.
He's the guy who
I know who Tom is. Yeah.
Mary's husband is the guy who showed up for like 10 minutes of the film.
I figured that was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were making out pretty hard early on, so I was like, it's pretty easy to put 2 to 2 together at that point.
Okay, good. Just checking. He's technically her second husband because, spoiler alert for the series, her first husband dies. He's the cousin Matthew who you saw at the end of the pilot episode.
Okay.
So by the time the movie rolls around, Mary has had her baby girl with Henry, her second husband. You saw her blowing kisses to
The kids.
The kids.
Well, the bowl cut. Yeah.
Yeah, up in the balcony. So,
Yeah.
So there's that.
This, sorry, it's got to come as a thought occurred to me. I know like the one character's name I remember from like the pilot was like Mr. Bates, and he like plays a very minor role in the movie overall. But I kept laughing to myself, and this is totally immature, and I know it's immature as fuck. But there's a part of me that really wanted to become like a lordship or something like that. Just somebody says so he goes Mr. Bates, and then he corrects him by going Master Bates.
Ew. No.
I know, totally childish. But
Yes.
I know. Like, I was trying to keep up, so I was keeping myself amused in small little ways. That was one of them. Continue.
So, and Mary is still the agent for the Downton Abbey estate, which basically means she's responsible for keeping it running smoothly and up to date with the ending of the Victorian era into what was for the time more modern 20th century times and technologies and whatnot. You know, back when when a phone and a radio were cutting edge.
Oh yeah. And you mean they didn't have television in 1927? My God.
Nah.
As a Downton Abbey fan, like, did this pay off for you? Or?
I really enjoyed being in the world again and seeing the characters again and seeing them prosper and be happy, but not so happy that everything's perfect. Everything is not perfect. Edith, while she's happily married, she misses running her magazine because she's kind of disillusioned with entertaining all these hoity-toity people because she's a Marquesa now, because that she married the Marquis of Hexham. That's why she's introduced to the King and Queen as Lady Hexham.
Okay.
So it made me very happy to see the characters and see them interact with each other and see where they're at in that point in their lives. I kind of had the opposite opinion as you because to me it felt like they were consolidating about 10 episodes worth of plot points into 2 hours. I felt like there were some pacing issues, but and some things were rushed, like towards the end, the Dowager Countess, aka Maggie Smith.
Okay. Oh yeah, that whole plot line that's introduced and then wrapped up in then 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
that,
like something she introduced way earlier. Yeah.
That was shoehorned in, and I wasn't surprised by it because Maggie Smith had said in interviews about Downton Abbey that she felt like her character would have died a long time ago because she was far too old.
Yeah.
By that point. I mean, I'm glad that we didn't see her die on screen any. Long time fans of the series will know how synonymous death and tragedy is with the Downton Abbey family.
Okay.
They lost Tom's wife and Mary and Edith's sister Sybil in season 3, and at the end of season 3 they lost Mary's husband Matthew, who you may know as the Beast from that movie in 2017.
We don't talk about the 2017 Beast.
and I have heard good things about Legion, but
Legion is really goddamn good.
Yeah, so it's the same actor. He left Downton Abbey and
wait, who is he in Legion?
I think he's Legion.
I don't. Beast, the guy who played Beast, the Viewing the Beast.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe you.
Okay.
I'm gonna look that up because I don't believe that.
All right, go for it. So they both died in season 3, and in season 4 there was a whole plot line about how Anna got sexually assaulted and was arrested for her assailant's murder, even though she didn't do it. So
Son of a bitch.
I was right. Ha! Ha! Told ya.
Son of a bitch. All right, fine. All right. I can see defeat.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of ruins Legion for me. No, I'm kidding.
Hi.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, that's why he has to be written out of Downton Abbey, which is why he was killed off at the end of season 3.
Okay.
Because he wanted to do those other 2 projects.
He made 50% of a good decision.
Yes.
I'm sure it's good for his career. I don't know, doing the Disney Hort thing. I don't know. They horribly edited his voice. You can't even tell it's fucking him.
Nope.
Yeah, anyway. God damn, I'm thinking Beauty and the Beast, and now I'm just angry. Moving on.
So, any fan of the series will know that Death and Tragedy followed the Crawleys pretty closely. So I am glad that Maggie Smith's character, the Dowager Countess, did not die on screen, because Downton Abbey fans have seen enough members of the family die.
I'm sure.
Yeah, season 3 was pretty brutal.
What year was that at? What is that?
I want to say 2013 or so, because it was on at the UK before it came stateside.
That makes sense.
And I basically got into it within its last 2 or 3 years on the air by collecting the DVDs.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So.
All right. So all that being said, like, I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this, because again, most of it's just been like, well, all right, there was an assassination subplot that was like kind of over and done with, but it was still entertaining well enough. Okay, fine, I dig it. The service people were fun, so I liked them. The plumber thing was kind of weird. And there are some kind of there's a couple moments like fucked up morals that kind of get thrown in here a couple times. I'm like,
yeah.
Not really a good idea, kind of thing. Like, there's one subplot with like this one hippie like chef person is like engaged to one of the server people.
Daisy,
thank you. And like, I guess the server person gets really jealous because there's this hot plumber that comes, because you know all plumbers are super hot in the 20s.
Absolutely.
People that work on shit totally know how to, like, a chisel jaw.
He knows a trade. She knows a trade.
He knows how to work those
pipes.
There you go. I didn't have anything for that, so I'm glad you chimed in.
Thank you.
I'm glad to clean your pipe, Daisy. However plumbing works.
At the end of season 6, Daisy and Andy are an item. So in the movie, you as a viewer learn that they're engaged, and she keeps not wanting to plan their wedding because...
I mean, Isaiah picked that up pretty quick just from watching the movie. They make it pretty explicit that's the case.
Yeah.
But I guess the fact that he's super unhealthily jealous of this plumber dude to the point where he breaks the thing he just fixed for reasons.
He was angry and stupidly took it out on the pipes.
She turns like, this is totally healthy behavior. Let's get married.
Well, she
I mean, it was the 20s, so I know standards were different then, but still.
Appreciates seeing that he is at least as passionate about certain things as she is, which it was a concern that she had.
I mean, yeah, there's a difference between being passionate for something and I'm gonna break something out of anger because a guy looked at you funny, you know?
Yes.
That's kind of a red flag.
I agree, but hey, it's Daisy's engagement, not mine.
Yeah, I know, so it's kind of like, okay, whatever, 20 standards.
Yeah.
There was another one like that, like the whole subplot with like this princess girl who has this, like this
Margaret, I think.
whatever,
Yeah.
who has this horrible husband, and I guess the whole is like, should she leave him or should she stay? What yada yada yada.
She ends up staying out of duty and for their children.
Which I guess is framed as a good thing.
Well, it's a good thing for the aristocracy.
Well, yeah, but then it gets to the point where like the ceiling dances toward the end, and then he's like, "We're gonna do this," and then he goes like, "No, we're not," and he goes like, or he says something to the extent of, "Well, we can't do it." I was like, "No, we need to change." I'm like, this is not going to end the way you think. Like, this is me doing my Luke Skywalker.
Well, many royal marriages never did.
I'm sure it did not. But again, they're framing this in the positive. I'm like, this is not going to end positively.
Well, again, it's positive for the aristocracy of the time.
I understand that part, but the movie's trying to frame it like this is a personal victory for her. It's kind of like, is it though?
It's acceptance for her, and it's a personal victory for her parents.
Yeah, but again, I'm going against what the actually saying versus what the movie's trying to tell me. Mm-hmm. In the language, sorry, I didn't mean to spit on you a little bit there.
Okay.
And the language of the movie is trying to frame this as like, oh, this is a positive growth moment for her. And I'm like, motherfucker, no, it's not. And granted, it's such a bit part in the movie that's really not getting like that worked up about. But it's still something that I noticed that did kind of bug me a little bit.
Yeah, her when her husband came on screen and basically kept their children from spending time with her, I couldn't help myself. I audibly said in my theater, "What an ass."
Yeah, so that's the case with okay, that's not gonna end well. I do think one of the subplots I actually would have liked more of instead of more of this and less ball. I was actually very interested in the underground gay bar or gay dance club that exists in this universe. I thought actually that was pretty interesting.
I did too, and considering that Thomas doesn't have as much to do in the movie as he does in the television series, because Mary calls Carson back to take over for the duration of the royal visit. I am glad that they gave Thomas something to do, and it was accurately portrayed in terms of history, because homosexuality was illegal in the UK for years.
Oh yeah, it was the 20s,
Well,
things are very, very different back then. What kind of bug is this? Something just really big flew into my car.
I think I caught a glance of it. I think it was still illegal in the 1960s, so...
that's only, recently changed in the last few decades, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So, I was kind of interested, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting how they go this angle. I was curious by it, but it's kind of there and done, but what's there is good. That is a case where I could have used less of the let's wrap up all the subplots ball and more.
Yeah, and there is a bit of that.
And more of this, because I, in my opinion, way more interesting than oh, we're dancing and Margot, or what's her name? Oh, by the way, I'm dying.
The Dowager Countess, who's the first name of that character is Violet, or you could call her Lady Grantham. Or just Maggie Smith, since that's the
Maggie
actress
Smith, that's what I was looking
who played her.
Shoot. Fly, wait, you're not welcome to my car. What are you?
Shoe fly shoe.
By the way, Dad, where'd you go? He's like this little bug here, because he's decided he wants to hang on my windshield. There you go. I don't know if you can, yeah, there you go, little guy. I don't know what you are, but please don't bite me.
Seriously, don't bite me either. I don't like bugs. Bugs like me, but I don't like bugs.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. So, yeah, other than that, I think I covered everything I could think of to talk about. Can you think of anything else you really wanted to bring up?
If you're a fan of the series and a completionist like myself, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun to be in the world with these characters again and see what they're up to. As an amateur film critic, I do recognize that it has pacing issues, but it's a fine time at the theater.
I think as for what it is, it stands fine. Like I said, I didn't love this movie. I didn't hate it. I was like, all right, well, I enjoyed some parts. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. And and for somebody who has no love or interest in much in the show, I was able to follow on pretty well enough. So take it for what it's worth for however long it's in theaters. I think that's all I personally have to say about this. tonight I'm dreading because I have to go. I have to go see and talk about Joker.
Who are you seeing it with?
Me and Muha are covering that one.
Oh, okay, I think that's
No, it's a good pairing considering both of our viewpoints on
DC.
Not just DC, but media appropriation and cultural influence. Because I don't know if you've been following all the controversy behind this thing.
My friend Evan told me a little bit about it, about how it's been very divisive and how it's under security scrutiny.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns about whether or not the films, the way the characters portrayed is apologetic towards incels. So people are worried it's going to be appropriated into some kind of hate symbol, basically. Which may or may not be true. I've heard other things Amelia said that have gone against this, mostly in that it's not really worth getting that upset about, based on the actual context of the film. But
as a fan of other Batman DC related media, I kind of have mixed views on this film's place in the canon.
Well, it's supposed to be like a one-off thing.
But I do think that Joaquin Phoenix is an extraordinary actor, and and I am curious to see what he does with the material he's given.
That's been the thread, whether you like the movie or you don't like the movie. Everyone agrees Joaquin Phoenix is great. So that's gonna be a long discussion tonight. So I'm gonna sit here for that.
I'm probably going to see it Tuesday or if I have time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be housing all next week, so I gotta kind of get it done tonight. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have time next week.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Downton Abbey. Glad I was able to catch up with this. I'm glad I saw it for what it's worth. And now I can say I did see it, so that way I don't get shit for it later.
And you know why Cousin Matthew was killed off now.
Yeah, now I know, for better or worse. So yeah, look out for the Joker review. We'll probably be out later, whenever this one comes up first. I don't know, whenever it comes out. So let's look out for it tomorrow or today, whatever. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.